the purveyor of justice had arrived onto AEW's doorstep. And with this purveyor of justice, he has struck fear, ratings, and more ratings into the AEW fan base. So, we're heading into this with a potential for a long term impact for AEW's corporation's current status with Dynamite. And I am excited because Sting was kind of just not there. He kind of disappeared for a while. WWE wasn't going to use him for anything. Like, they could have used him for a DGM, but they didn't want to because, I don't know, reasons. So they instead just like let him sit out his contract what he had with WWE because they weren't going to use him for any roles. They hadn't used him for an ambassador or something like that. They just had him sit at home, get paid, merchandise, and that was it. And Sting was reportedly from Body Slam News, I believe, unhappy because he tried to pitch Undertaker versus Sting, a match that so many fans wanted and was going to be clear money, and Vince didn't go for it. Now, wondering why he didn't go for it is one thing. So when I have been strictly against the idea of Sting versus the Undertaker, not for probably the same reason Vince had, but the report went on by Body Slam is that Vince didn't go with the match because it didn't appeal to him. Okay. Bear in mind, my philosophy of why the match shouldn't happen was completely different. My belief was that this is a feud, a dream match, that people have wanted this for 20 years. And some even longer than that. 30 years if you count Undertaker's debut. Because there were some that probably had that thought. Uh, After the Crow Sting debuted in 1996. So yeah, you have this dream match, and so many people have so much fantasy ideas about how they could do this match and whatnot, and it was like, how could it ever live up to that hype? How could it honestly live up to that kind of hype? You are hyping this as the biggest dream match, WCW's face versus WWE's conscience, to take on each other one on one, and it would never live up to that hype. And then you gotta remember, Undertaker and Sting, they're at an age where they probably should stop wrestling. And then Sting got hurt, and then Undertaker retired recently. We'll see. Uh, and you're like, man, now like the match should have happened at 31, but like I get that part. That would have been understandable, but instead they went with Triple H because Vince still has a score to sell with AEW with WCW, even though he won the fucking war. But screw that, right? So Sting, after he got hurt and after his Hall of Fame speech, he never showed up again. Last I checked, and now he shows up on AEW Dynamite. There were rumors going around that he was going to show up and be in the sixth man in that ladder match that Brian Cage debuted in. Uh, yeah, that would have been a terrible idea with his neck in his current state. So yeah, that was put on the kibosh right away. So Sting shows up on Winter is Coming, and everyone's freaking out, everyone's hyped, everyone's seeing their childhood icon come out and just be his badass self. And he goes into the ring, stares at Cody Rhodes, tapping his bat like, watching a kid. Then he looks up to Arn Anderson, who's freaking out, and his mouth is quivering, being seeing this guy he hasn't seen in so long. Then he looks to Darby Allin. Darby Allin staring back at him, probably is trying his best not to, because this is a guy that a lot of wrestlers look up to. And like, Sting brings a lot to the table, not as a wrestler because I don't see him wrestling, but it was reported he's signed a multi-year contract with the company, and it was reported that while he's not going to take bumps, so to speak, he's not going to wrestle. I don't see him wrestling, hopefully, because I don't want to see him in a wheelchair for our entertainment. Uh, One of the things is that he's set to speak on this coming Dynamite next week, and here's the thing I'm just gonna say: I don't like Sting's voice for the for the crow gimmick. It just like when it was the surfer gimmick, the blonde surfer guy gimmick, I got that. That's how his voice is. But every time when I look at Sting and he's this dark, brooding, painted face of the Crow, I'm just thinking to myself, man, that voice just doesn't seem to mesh with me. It should be powerful and deep and whatnot. But yeah, it'd probably be best not to just fake the voice like that he did once and make it look bad. It's just weird. It's just a weird clashing of personalities. Like when I hear his voice, it's so energetic and hyped up. Whereas when I look at Steam's like, I don't really see him being this energetic guy when it comes to talking. Probably, which is why it was probably best he did the vow of silence for 1 year until 1998, which is saying something. After 1996, he stopped talking for a year. Here, he just let his body expression, facial act, and physical acting be the storytelling, which was awesome. And yeah, and just seeing this guy that so many fans love just go in that ring and deliver his presence, even though the mystique was gone, you still saw like this is the larger than life guy that has been missing in wrestling, that we miss to see, the larger than life, the one that makes the room stop and stare at him like it's God, he is awake. And you're just left wanting to see him again, even though he's at a point where he should stop, even though he's at a point where he no longer wrestles. I had thought he was going to be the general manager. He's going to be, it's been apparently reported that he's set to be a full-time character on TV going forward. So I get the feeling that, and one of the things that was reported on AEW site is that they put a graphics icon of Sting with the record, the win-loss record, and that made people think he was going to wrestle again. Now, we don't know what the doctors have said. We don't know if it was doctors in either AEW or independent doctors. I'm hoping independent doctors, because AEW ones could be biased, and there could be a bias to it, especially after the Matt Hardy situation. We're still holding them under scrutiny for that. And WWE management, when it comes to their doctors, is questionable. Like, there's still this big theory that Daniel Bryan was actually clear the whole time, and well, Vince didn't want to risk it or something, or just didn't want him to be around because he's not what he wants. It's what the fans want, and he hates the fans. But that's a conspiracy talk. You can look at other videos talking about that. So Sting's impact in AEW. So I really do think he's going to bring in viewership. Like, okay, I get, like, it drew up a 900,000 viewership on AEW, 900,000 plus. Everyone was thinking a million, but I feel like if NXT was not on Wednesday night or was on Tuesday, it probably would have gotten a million views. But I get the feeling Sting still has an impact to play in this. Get it? Impact. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Uh, where Sting is going to probably bring in viewership. He's going to help teach the talent, give them some new stuff to material work with, especially since this is a guy that they all looked up to. Like, the only way you could top Sting's sudden return to TNT for the first time in over 20 years is if you had John Cena show up on TV, or The Rock, or Stone Cold, and they show up on AEW Dynamite. It'd be like, what? Like, Bret Hart doing it was cool, but it was like, I don't know how to describe it. For some reason, it didn't click with me. Like Bret Hart, like I get like he was there to present the AEW belt, and that was gonna be his one-time appearance from what he said. But it just didn't click like how big, like if it was like with Sting, it was like a for so many people, but with Bret Hart, it was more like it's Bret Hart. It's kind of he's kind of awesome, but I don't know how to describe it honestly, but Sting, if the face of WCW, the guy who was not hyped up whatsoever, was not even, no one knew. That's the one thing, no one knew that he was coming back to show up on TNT on AEW, and do I see him wrestling? No. At best, if he did wrestle, he'll probably at best be in tag team or trio matches and go in there, do a couple of big spots, flashy spots, then take the finisher in and get the win for his team, or do some high moments and then just leave, go back and tag out. At best, he'll probably take some minimal bumps that don't risk his neck if they do that, but I'm hoping they don't. They don't play the risk card. Uh, but I am hoping that he's going to be the elite GM of AEW. Like, yeah, Tony Khan is the unseen force, although he did show up on Winter's Coming. He is the unseen force, but you can establish a reason why he wouldn't be at the show, even though he clearly would. You could say, oh well, he's an entrepreneur. He has his fingers in many pies and cakes. He's the owner of a football team. He owns his own stadium. He owns a multinational corporation like Vince. And you could just use that as an excuse to get a general manager on board. Like, there's a reason they have to tie in the video game probably at this point. I'd be amazed if they didn't. And maybe you can have like Tony Khan be the president WWF had back in the day, where it was impartial, or like really Regal, where he comes in and makes the biggest impacting, long-lasting, impactful decisions that affect the entire company. He could do that on TV. If the general manager cannot control the roster or has to make an ultimate decision, and that has to fall onto the owner, so that would probably be an interesting route. Some people have also said that that he's going to be a Darby Allin's manager, because some people actually have said they see a little bit of younger Sting in Darby Allin, which, okay, I'm a little iffy on that. Like, I'm not disputing that entirely. I kind of can get from some perspective, but at the same time, I'm like, I wouldn't go that far yet. Well, let's see, man. But Sting brings a lot of material, I think, as a character, and what he could teach the young guys backstage and the young guys and gals how to create their characters and tell the stories and whatnot, instead of just relying on pure athleticism, which is an awesome thing. But yeah, like remember, Sting bring WCW its biggest ratings with the NWO's help. Oh, not doing a thing, just being silent and mysterious and occasionally whacking someone with a baseball bat, or perched up in the rafters, or coming out of a helicopter, or having a crow with him because he needs to be edgy. But yeah, Sting, he could do some lot of good stuff for the talent backstage. He could probably be a force to be reckoned with in the general manager position if they go with that route, because he has done general manager work before in TNA, but we don't really talk about that time when he was the Joker. Seriously, a crow scares Bischoff? Like, yeah, that's kind of sad, honestly, when you think about it. Yeah. So, anyways, you want to go ahead and see what the future holds for Sting for the next several years, probably 3 years at best. Yes. So, I'm hyped for what Sting could bring to the table. Look forward to what he's going to say next week. I mean, like, I still complain about the voice, but still, that's my opinion. But with that with the look, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna hit Taz with a bat eventually. I generally think that, like, Taz will retaliate. Like, can you really picture Sting not getting some trouble with Taz, to a Team Taz, after Taz ran off? And he'll probably try to take out Sting, but Sting will just whack him in the bat with a bat. Oh man, that would be freaking awesome, kind of. But yeah, I'm just glad he's coming in. If he actually is a mentor for Darby Allin, that would be kind of awesome. But at the same time, it's like, does Darby Allin, like, I'm not saying Darby Allin couldn't benefit from having Sting as his manager. Could Sting work that role? Like, it's hard to imagine it, honestly. But it's still kind of awesome. He could have some interaction with Darby Allin at some stage in this, because I don't think they would just go ahead, have Steen not just confront Cody or Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson's understandable. Cody, because it's Cody. But Darby was the interesting factor. What if Sting does with something with Darby Allin, like takes him on as a disciple? Well, I'm not saying full-fledged manager role, but like like takes him on a disciple in the darkness or something like that. I could be graciously wrong on that, but okay, I'm babbling, aren't I? So yeah, I'm hyped for what Sting could bring in terms of knowledge, man, of what he could offer to the talent of the tomorrow, of what he could bring for viewership. Because, like I said, no one knew he was showing up. No one knew he was showing up on Dynamite that week. So imagine when you're getting the call from when you're getting tweets and whatnot coming out, and people saying, "Everyone, Sting just showed up on Dynamite." Wait, what? He's gonna show up next week? He signed a multi-year contract. I gotta tune in. This is the same strategy I think they went. This is the same strategy why I said they went with that with Chris Jericho when he won the title, when he won the world title first instead of Hangman's, because this is what I said. I said it made sense for Jericho to win the title first because one, Hangman's too much is still a unknown factor for casual fans, but Jericho, we know who Jericho is. Everyone and their grandmother probably knows who Jericho is. Like from musicians know who Jericho is. They know he's a wrestler, a musician, or a book, an author. He has all these fingers everywhere in the mainstream market that he could bring in fans who weren't going to tune into AEW, but when they heard, hey, Jericho's on there, it's like, okay, I'm in. I'm going to check this out. So yeah, Sting, I think he's going to bring in a lot of hopeful staying viewers. Like he brings in the viewership with his drawing power, but the wrestlers who benefit from both knowledge from him, are going to be the ones that have to keep them motivated because Sting can't do this forever. So, and eventually that nostalgia will wear off, something that WWE doesn't want to learn. But that's all I can hope for, is that Sting is used to drawing viewers, but the talent is what keeps them staying around. That's the way you can use nostalgia to your benefit, in my opinion, instead of having them take up all the stuff and drag everything out and have a potential disaster like Goldberg and Undertaker. Okay. So, anyways, those were my collective WrestleVerse thoughts regarding Sting's potential impact in AEW. This was Neo Reality Entertainment's presenting the WrestleVerse. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, check out all my next videos. Look to my main channels everywhere, where in the description, and feel free to stay tuned for more. And I'll see y'all next time. See ya. Too sweet.